Hey, subscribe to my channel. I love you.
Car D Kaizoku.
This video is brought to you by Adakai TCG. Shop the latest in premium holographic textured custom One Piece cards. Designed for collectors, crafted to stand out. Use code CARDKaizoku for 15% off your next order. This video is sponsored by Gungam.gg. See Western OP11 list and Eastern OP12 list on Gungam.gg. Updated daily. Be the first to see decks for new leaders as they emerge. With over 1000 deck lists per set, Gumgum.gg has all the top strategies as soon as they drop. This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. Alright, welcome to the Week 6 OP11 meta analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the top 10 rankings for the OP11 format on the West. We can do that via my website here. So there's a leader rankings page. We'll click that. We'll filter it for West private. So we're going to take a look at private games only. Yeah, if you guys are a regular viewer, this is probably going to be like repeated information. But whenever I stop saying this, I get like the same old questions come up again. So sorry, bear with me. But yeah, is ranked data in my data? Yes, it's a subset of my data. Only caveat is that I cannot tell which games are ranked or not, but they're in there. The closest I can get to estimating it is checking for private games, because all ranked games are done through private games. So this is the full universe of private games here, with a large majority of them being ranked games. So if you're curious about that this is what those stats are. And we're going to take a look at, let's just take a look at the last week, because this is like a weekly thing we're doing here. And we'll see what changed since last week. So from the last time we looked at this, it looks like Green Bonney went up one slot here. So here are the rankings for this particular week, week 6 here. So Blue Purple Luffy at top, followed by Green Bonney, who went up one rank than she did last week. Buggy being the one that switched with Bonney, going down to 3rd. Bella Biddy at 4th. Purple Luffy went up 3 spots, going to 5th. We'll have to see what developments in Purple Luffy were this week that made him jump up so high. And then Zoro remaining the same at 6th. Green Purple Luffy going down to 7th. Red Green Spoker going up to 8th, Shanks going back down to 9th, and then Blackbeard still 10th. I think he's been 10th for every single video that we've done of these since OP11 has started, so solidifying himself as a top 10 deck. Now let's take a look a little further down. So Black Purple Luffy also went up 2 spots, so did Reiju up 2. Yamato and Lucci went down 2, I guess, to offset that, right? These 4 leaders swapped with each other, and then Yellow Kid and Green Yellow Law, and then Nami, followed by Marco, Kobe, and then Enel makes up the top 20 here. And then we'll go into a little bit of OP12 too after this, just to entice you to keep watching after the OP11 part. But yeah, let's take a look at the ones that increased the most and see what has changed. So, well, Bonney went up 1 rank, so let's take a look at Bonney. Then we'll look at Purple Luffy, and then Green Purple and Reiju. Just look at these really quickly before we jump into the OP12 data. So yeah, from my website, if you click the leader portraits here from the rankings, you can get to the leader stats page. So this shows like a detailed breakdown of the leader's performance for the same period. Or you can change the period too. There's a drop down here to do that. But, oh, it doesn't show up on the screen recording. Well, oh, you can see highlight. Yeah, this is what this does. Okay. So Bonney. First win rate of 53, second win rate of 52, overall win rate of 52.93 for this particular week. Yeah, has good matchups into a lot of decks, but loses mostly to Lucci, Teach, Blue Purple Luffy, and Shanks, and Reiju. So Blue Purple Luffy being the most played leader, this is like the biggest detriment to playing Bonney, but everything else isn't as popular anymore, right? We see only 300 games against Shanks in the last week here of the 9,581 games recorded, and then Lucci a little less than that even, so doesn't really face her weak matchup too often, at least on the sim. It could be different in tournament play, where it's like all RNG based on what you get paired up with. Let's take a look at what Bonney deck lists look like in the last week, which is also a feature of my website here. So the top overall Bonney list had 1,488 games played by 212 different people. Looks like it's running, we can take a look at it in detail. So it's running 9 cost Zoro now. That's a staple in the Bonney deck for the week. And then 4 of the Shanks. So no Law and Beppo in this deck, interestingly enough. No Kid and Killer either. It's not worth it for Bonney? I thought it would be. I thought it was a really good card for the deck. Okay, well, I don't know. It seems like we're regressing a little bit. Here's the price of the deck, $330 here. The badge is worth running, but not Law, Kid and Killer and Law and Beppo. I guess any like character combination cards are not allowed in this deck. I don't know. Let's take a look at the hidden gem too. So this was played by 3 people with a 69.5% win rate, but only 59 games. So super small sample size, so take it with a grain of salt. But it looks kind of like the same deck. It's nearly the same, but it runs 1 Law and Beppo and then 2 Kid and Killer, just to make me feel better. Okay, that's Bonney for you. Up next is Purple Loof, who is a kind of RNG based deck in the fact that like your dice roll against your opponent determines if you're going to win the game or not. Look at that, 61% win rate going first, 42 going second, averages out to 52 overall. But you really do, if you're like the most unlucky person in the world and you go second every game, you're not gonna have a good time. Unless you're against Buggy, Kobe, or Yamato, in which case you win either way. But yeah, against everything else, he has a losing matchup going second, so that's kind of how this deck is. Loses the most to Bello Betty here, it seems, on average. But does, on average, get into Blue Purple Luffy. If you happen to go first, you have to really go first. Dang, look at this this Smoker matchup. Going second is a 29% win rate. I wish there was a way to fix this with this guy, but at the moment, it doesn't seem like there is. But let's take a look at his deck list. So for the past week, 52 pilots, 449 games, 51.2% win rate. With this list here, it looks like gone are the days of turbo ramping to 8 and 9. Right, you're back to the old days of playing Luffy Taro into Sangoro or Zoro Juro. But as a 3 of only for these, it looks like 8 cost Katakuri is still a very valid play. If you happen to I think going first, you can hit 8 on like your 3rd turn, which is why that's a great strategy to go for. And then 9 cost Luffy also always been a great card because you get rush and then a card draw after that. No more 9 moms needed because the meta has gotten less aggressive, more slow. But because of that, like we saw Purple Luffy's one of his weakest matchups is Bello Betty, just because no more 9 moms. This deck's 266. Okay, let's take a look at the Hidden Gem. Hidden Gem. Oh, whoa. Look at this deck here. It's very old school. This was before the starter deck. What number is it? Starter deck 18 before this release and gave him the Luffy Taro package. We used to run Polly and Magellan, but they're not full committing to it. But this was your way to get to 8 Dawn on your 3rd turn. Right, because usually you'd be at 7 to play Luffy Taro, but you'd play Polly, pop your opponent's 4-drop, because it would have been their 4-down turn just now too. And then you ramp up to 8 after popping their 4-drop, and then next turn you're at 10 Dawn, where you can drop like a double Magellan to make your opponent stay back 1 turn of Dawn, but only 2 Magellan, so it's not like a reliable strategy here. It's good against Blue Purple Luffy, I would assume, because you're slowing them down from hitting their leader ability threshold. But also with this blocker law, this is a blast from the past. This makes them trash 2 cards from the hand if they have 7 or more. So this is all very like Blue Purple Luffy tech, I feel. Well, not Polly, but Magellan and the Law are. Oh, what other weak matchups would this help against? So Polly would hit Bello Betty, so that makes sense. It would hit Zoro Juro and Green Purple Luffy, but not the Sanji and Pudding. I guess maybe that's enough. Just shoring up Bello Betty, and then he already kind of wins against Blue Purple Luffy. I don't know, but the interesting deck list for this week, right? 3 people are running it, so that's Purple Luffy. Up next is Purple Black Luffy. So Purple Black, 51% win rate going first, 47 going second, on average 49.6. Completely dies to Bonney, unfortunately, and Reiju and Red Green Smoker, but good against Yamato, Nami, Green Yellow Law. Good into Buggy if you're going first, good into Zoro if you're going second, and then good into Purple Blue Luffy going first. Well, these are all like flip-flop, right? It's kind of interesting. You're good going first here, going second here, going first here, going second here, going second here, going first here, going second here. So I guess it averages out, I guess. But let's take a look at some deck lists for this guy. Okay, so the best overall deck list here for the week, 281. Looks pretty standard, right? I don't think things have changed much. That English didn't make any sense. But the 2 choppers for tech to tap Dawn, only 3 Katakuri. I'd see a lot of Luffy's now just kind of rush to 9, or rush to 10. Right, because on this turn you're at 6, right? So you stay at 6. Next turn you go to 8, and then hopefully you're a 7k base at that point, and then you play a 7k base with the blocker. So very, very like defensive way to get to your 10 Dawn turn to start playing your big hitters. But yeah, it's just his weakness to freaking Bonney is kind of disappointing, just because even if he can ramp that fast, like Bonney can control your bodies, because Purple Black Luffy doesn't poop out bodies. It's like a 1 body a turn kind of deck, so Green Bonney is usually really good against those kind of decks. I guess Reiju is just too fast for you. Let's take a look at the Hidden Gem. Anything nice to see here? Okay, this is spicy. The Dressrosa Luffy. Is that all the spice? Yeah, looks like it. Huh. I wonder what this is a response for. But for the Robins too. How many people ran this deck? 3 people did. 63 games. Okay, interesting. Then we have Reiju, who went up just 2 slots, so 52% win rate going first, 51 going second, 52 overall. good into a lot of the popular decks, only really losing to Blue Purple Luffy and Teach, which I think puts Reiju in a pretty good position, right? If she's really that great into everything else. Let's take a look at her deck list. Okay, for the past week, I think we saw the same list. No, this list didn't run as many blue OP11 Germa cards as one that we looked at last week. But yeah, pretty much the same thing, just like one extra Niji and then one extra Ichiji. What did they take out? Maybe 2 Soras from last time? I don't quite remember. But yeah, Reiju is the same as always. Does the Hidden Gem have anything spicy in it? And it just runs the Cosette as a 1-drop blocker. Oh, and then the Gungam Lightnings. Oh yeah, the one last week ran like Black Bug, so I guess they cut 2 of those out for characters. That's Reiju. And then we'll move on to OP12. So this is what OP12 looked like for the last week of Eastern private games. I think this is the first video on my channel going over this. So yeah, this is the top 10. Do take these data points with a grain of salt. I don't think too many people play on the East on the sim anyway. So the Western data is a lot more popular and there's a lot more data points, so it's a lot more confident in the stats. Right? I think most of the people who play East are just people who aren't currently interested in playing the Western format physically and just wanted to look ahead or just copy whatever's in Japan. And then, yeah, whatever few amount of players who are actually from the Eastern regions who want to play online. Because I think most people in Japan, they have access to locals. Like, especially in Tokyo, you walk outside, you'll accidentally walk into a local, I feel. But yeah, this is what the East looks like on the sim for the last week. Up at first is actually Yellow Kid, and we're going to look at why. Followed by Blue Purple Luffy. This is not surprising. It is still considerably the best deck in the format. Followed by Bonney, followed by Enel, which is really interesting. I think Enel does really well in the sim in private games, but doesn't really show up in like any of the championship series that I remember watching. And then of course Green Zoro we'll take a look at because he's a new leader. Rayleigh 2, Green Purple still up here at 7th, and then Shanks at 8th, Kuzan at 9th, and then Red Green Smoker rounds out the top 10 here. So this is your top 10 for Eastern. OP12 meta at the moment. So let's take a look at some more deck lists for some of these leaders here. So Yellow Kid, Piss Kid, has a going first win rate of 51.8 and a second win rate of 61.8. Overall raw win rate of 57.76, weighted to 54.12. And yeah, just has a good matchup into a lot of the relevant like meta threats, right? Good into Rayleigh, good into Zoro, good into Kuzan, good into Buggy and Red Green Smoker here. Has a kind of tumultuous matchup into Green Purple Luffy, where if you go second, you're better curve, right? You do get good against him. His weakness being that he does still lose to Blue Purple Luffy, unfortunately. Completely turbo dice to Bonney though, for the same reasons that Purple Black Luffy did, right? Kids that play one body kind of deck every turn. But also loses to Enel, maybe that's why we see Enel up here. Let's take a look at a kit list real quick. We'll just take a look at the overall best one. Oh, they're all the same, just because there's less data points to pull from. There's no Hidden Gem. The Hidden Gem is the best deck here. Okay, $78 without OP12 cards because there's no prices for these cards yet. But yeah, it looks like the only inclusion is just the Kumas and then 2 Katakuri for the top end. They don't run Damn Punk anymore. They run the Red Hawk. This is a much better card. But yeah, I guess Kid's strength is just that he's good into Zoro and doesn't completely die to Blue Purple Luffy. It's still a losing matchup, but it's not like Bonney where it's like 30%. But like overwhelmingly kills Zoro here. Look at that. And I guess it's because you're playing big bodies that he can't rest anyway, and then you can make him into blockers to stop a lot of Zoro's like cheekiness. We'll take a look at the next leader. It is Enel. So why is Enel doing so good? So 54.7% win rate going first, 59 going second, raw win rate of 57, weighted to 52. It looks like he kind of has the same matchups as Kid, right? Good into Zoro, good into Rayleigh, good into Kid himself, Red Green Smoker 2. Oh, he completely dies to Green Purple Luffy going first, 16%. But does have a completely abysmal win rate into Blue Purple Luffy, which is really, really relevant in this meta. So I think because of that, like that's why we don't see him in tournaments. Just because the ones that like enter the tournaments never make it to the final tables. Because if I recall, like 50% of the decks at a tournament are Blue Purple Luffy decks, or at least of the top 16s are Blue Purple Luffys, if that is the correct stat. So you're bound to run into a few of these that'll like put you out of the running to make it undefeated to a top table. Let's take a look at an Enel deck list. Okay, so pretty much the same as it's always been. Oh no, it's a little different now. They're running Kuzan just to slow things down, right? Give your opponent a bunch of life and then use Yamato to pop something really big. Kuma is gonna really turbo help this deck. It's like a heal option that isn't from like 8 Dan and above, right? Because Katakuri heals, Yamato heals, and Enel heals, but you have to wait until you're like pretty late in the late game to get these guys off. Kuma is like a mid-game option to heal you, so you can aggressively take a bunch of life. Even when Kuma dies, you heal too, so that's really great. They run Hino Bird Zap. So I guess this is what combos with the Kuzan here, right? You life a character and then you're able to KO something pretty big with 2 Don later on. And then this Sabo is just a blocker, a sticky blocker. It lets you draw cards too. Okay, that's interesting. And then 2 kids for an aggressive top end. It helps you cycle your cards out too from your hand if you have a bunch of non-counter cards, because we do run a lot of non-counter. Right, 22 of them here. That's Enel for you. Okay, green Zoro. Let's see, 52.9% win rate. Going first, second is 52. So pretty much the same when you're going first or second. That's really, really good. Like turn agnostic kind of deck here. Raw win rate of 52.4, weighted to 51. Good into a lot of good decks here. Good into like Buggy, Green Yellow Law, Blue Purple Luffy. Black Purple Luffy. Good into Shanks as well. And then good into Green Purple going first. Good into Red Green Smoker going first. Good into Kuzan going second. But yeah, it does die to Blue Purple Luffy. Not too heavily, but definitely a losing matchup there. And then yeah, loses to Kid and Enel. Is that why both of these decks are doing so well on the ladder? Right, just yellow beats Zoro here. Loses to Rayleigh too, which is why we see Rayleigh popular in tournament settings too. We'll take a look at the deck list. Might be the same one that's in my deck breakdown. Check out my deck breakdown, by the way. I'm doing OP12 content and all the OP12 leaders that we're going to look at in this video, I have covered in a deck breakdown. Let's see. It's a little different, right? I'm not running this promo Zoro, I don't think, but everything else is kind of the same. But yeah, that's Zoro for you. Not too much deviation in this package. People aren't running Hodies either, it looks like. Okay, we're looking at Rayleigh now. So Rayleigh, first win rate of 49.4, second of 55. Overall 52.4, weighted to 51, so it's a better going second deck. Beats Red Green Smoker, beats Zoro, beats Kuzan going second, beats Green Purple going second, beats Buggy going second, which kind of surprising because Buggy, the Shoe Buggy, does like cancel out a lot of the cards in this deck, namely the Sanji and then the Luffy. But I guess you could make your searchers into the formidable attackers in this kind of deck, so I guess that's how they get around it. Buggy becomes pretty significant in this matchup too. Right, I think Buggy is like, ironically enough, the Buggy counter, the Buggy leader. Because he is a slash attribute leader, so he cannot KO the Buggy, funnily enough. What does he lose to? He loses to, yeah, see, Kid and Enel show up in a lot of these bad matchups, so that's why, completely explains why they're so up there in the top 10. And then Bonney too, loses to Bonney, loses to Shanks, loses to Blue Purple Luffy. Everything loses to Blue Purple Luffy though. Let's take a look at a Rayleigh deck list, which I also have a deck breakdown from, so check out my video. Okay, let's see. Anything interesting? They're running the Brook. Brook's really aggressive, right? It lets you shuffle 2 Don and then kind of fulfills the requirement for this Luffy's like 2 attached Don plus 2k. But everything else is pretty standard. Running less Zoros than I am, I think. But yeah, that's Rayleigh for you. Then we have Kuzan. We'll close off the video with Kuzan here. Blue Kuzan. 45.94% win rate going first, 55.1% win rate going second, raw win rate of 51.4, weighted to 49. So also another lopsided leader. It seems to be like a trend here, like similar to Purple Luffy that only wins going first. This guy only wins going second. Does get into Enel, just because you're playing so many big bodies that can always threaten their life. Does get into Yellow Kid only going second. Oh, these are really polarizing matchups, right? 53 going second, 29 going first. So yeah, it just goes to show you, if you're ever going first, you're going to have a really bad time. Really, really bad time, right? This is like a, 24% difference here. And just overall just loses to Blue Purple Luffy, just like every other deck does, unfortunately. Yeah, I think he's just kept down by the fact that he loses to all the top decks, but he's getting into a lot of like the, everything else, kind of. Even good into Zoro going second, but not going first. Koala is interesting in that, like, when you're playing Garp out, you have to take a life, but when you can do it on curve, like, it doesn't matter if you have to take life, you just kill Koala. Let's take a look at some Decklists. Okay, let's look at this one and then check out my Kuzan video too on this guy. This might even be the same list. Yeah, it looks exactly the same. I guess there's not too much variation in Kuzan just because you have to run all the Navy and all the Admirals. People are running why I run Virgo, and then this guy, wait, how many people are running this? The reason 58 people are running this Virgo as well is just because if you do happen to go first, as you saw how bad our first matchup is, we at least have something we can play on curve on our 5 Don turn to mitigate this 45.94% win rate going first, right? Because there is like a Django, this guy from OP12. Yeah, he's a better stat line and he can be cheated out by the Garp, but this just gives you something to play going first at the very least. And that's OP12, the top 10 for OP12. We looked at OP11 as well. Here, I'll have it open on another tab here. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought of the week of OP11 stats and then the quick preview of OP12, because we're going to get to it pretty soon actually, right? Yes, it is releasing on August 22nd, so it is coming. So it's Not a bad idea to get ready for that. Then we're gonna hit the ground running. We're gonna take a look at like day 0 tier list 2 for the set once we get closer to release. But for now, this is gonna be the video. I hope you don't mind me splicing some OP12 data into this, right? Or else like not too much changes from week to week from this tier list. No major developments in OP11. So I wanted to spice it up a little, you know? But yeah, any feedback would be appreciated. I take it all into account. So just let me know in the comments. I'll read it. And I guess subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed, if you're a new viewer. I do analysis videos. I do like deck breakdown videos. I do gameplay. I cover news too sometimes if it's like really big news. So yeah, just check out my channel if you want to see other One Piece content. I post like every day. Oh yeah, and again, if you're wondering where all these stats are coming from, it's from my website, cardkaizoku.com. I think I did not shout out my own website until just now at the very end of the video. Oops, I'm bad at this. Whatever, you guys are already used to it. Okay, bye.
Card Kaizoku.